Retiring and Beyond 5.2. Life Litter, Wear Gloves. You know by now that life is full of surprises, and so it's not a surprise anymore. It's just life. It is messy and it is unexpected. And when you get to the age where you're starting to contemplate retiring, even if you're retiring early, you're old enough to know that your health is not quite what it probably was in your 20s. So, that's reality. The good news is that you don't have an income stream anymore that is dependent on your physical ability to show up at work. Great. So, do you still need disability insurance? No, you don't. If you have enough money to retire, you no longer need to insure your income. Yay, you're free. Critical illness, however, well, that's a different question. On the one hand, you probably have friends who aren't working anymore, and so they're not going to be having an income hit if they need to take time off to help you heal and get to and from appointments and help you out around the house and stuff. That's super. And your income, again, doesn't require you on working to get it. You also probably have your health care set up for your retirement times. You probably have some of that set up. So if you were to get a critical illness, you have some nice things on your plate that are going to be able to serve you well. You know, you're probably not at risk of losing your home at this point if you have an illness. You probably have already done some serious thoughts about your health and your home and your lifestyle and are taking steps to try and make sure that, well, hopefully, that you can keep, getting in and out of bed. And so if you have an illness that impacts some of that, hopefully you've done some thinking. Does that mean you're not going to need money? Not necessarily. The question is, do you have enough in your retirement pot to self-insure? Or are you still going to need some extra money to help pay for those extra expenses like parking and travel, medicine that's not quite covered, that works better, but it's not covered fully by your plan? Extra help in your house, maybe? So perhaps you still need critical illness insurance, but perhaps just not quite as much. The problem being it starts to get really expensive once you get into your 50s and plus. Hopefully, you've already had this conversation with your professional, and if you decided that you want to have critical illness and insurance in retirement, you already have that in place. If you don't, this is going to be a costly venture, worth looking into, but your options are going to be limited, and the price is not going to be what it used to be. So this is where the do I self-insure possibly becomes more of an option of consideration than when you were younger. The other thing to consider at this point is long-term care insurance. Unfortunately, we don't have many good options, in my opinion, at this point in time. A lot of them have a 1 or 2 year wait and are facility required, or is simply a chunk of money and you have to submit receipts for them. Still a conversation I recommend you have with a professional, but often I'm seeing people choose to work their retirement plan around this consideration of long-term care being an option, that they approach in a different manner instead of using insurance. Talk to a professional, do a needs analysis, and make a playbook. Please make a playbook. If you get a critical illness, or if you lose some of your functionality to get in and out of bed, bathe yourself, feed yourself, dress yourself, toilet yourself, or continence of bowel and bladder, what do you think you'd like to see happen in your life? What does support look? What lifestyle changes would you make? Because if you have that in a playbook, you and the people around you are going to be able to better to transition and meet your needs rather than trying to figure it out in the middle of all of that stress. So be kind to yourself, be kind to your loved ones, make yourself a playbook. If this happens, here's what I think my thoughts are. Here's what I'd like to see happen. And here's kind of how I've arranged my finances to accommodate for that. Your life, your health, your way. Purpose-led, have a purpose in retirement. You have a meaningful life, value-driven. You know what matters to you by now. Put it down in a playbook so that that can continue even if your health gets disrupted.